This is a short guide on how to set up, use and reload labels onto your Axicon MB250 label dispenser. Unbox the dispenser and place it in front of a table or counter. This should be as the image on the screen, i.e. with the spiral wires on top facing outwards. To enable you to set this up as easily as possible, you will need to leave about 45 cm of clear space behind the dispenser. You also need a little clear space on each side of the dispenser to make it access as easy as possible. Remove the black spindle and place on the surface within easy reach. Next, we have white plastic dividers. These are used to separate the reels so that the labels don't get tangled during use. It is a good idea to space this roughly evenly across the width of the unit. You do not need to be too precise, as we will be placing these precisely at a later stage. Place the reels as labels in a row behind the dispenser. Unwind approximately 50 cm from the first reel of labels. This is known as the tail. You may find it easier to remove the labels from the tail. It is also best to start at one edge of the dispenser rather than in the middle. Feed the tail below the two black rollers at the base of the dispenser and drop it down in front of the counter. You should have around about 35 cm of the tail dropping down from the counter. Lift the end of the tail up and feed between the black rollers at the top of the unit and the silver divider. Then feed it straight down the other side of the divider so the divider is covered. This should not cover the spiral rollers. Move the first white divider so it just touches the reel of labels. Repeat the process for the other reels. When you have completed this process for every reel, tighten up the reels behind the dispenser and put them in a neat line close to the rear of the unit. Take the black spindle and feed it through the gap in the center of the reels. Make sure that the silver rod that runs through the spindle has approximately the same amount showing at both ends, so that it will sit comfortably in the notches at the back of the dispenser. Lift the spindle and place it in the notches. Check that the white dividers are positioned close to each reel and wind any excess material back onto the reel. The dispenser is now ready to use. To dispense a label, pull the end of the tail gently downwards. When you have reached the first label, it should come away from the backing. Depending on the size of a label, it should rather sit up and allow you to remove it, or rest on the spindle wires at the top front of a dispenser. There should be some tension when you pull the tail, but you should not need to pull the tail too hard. Replacing a reel of labels. Remove the spindle and the labels from the unit. Slide out the spindle. Remove the empty reels and replace with the new labels. Repeat the loading process. Thank you for purchasing the MB250 label dispenser. For further inquiries and information of the range of labels and related products that we supply, please visit our website at axiconlabels.co.uk.